Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you for being patient. I know the work session may have gone a little bit longer, but it was great information and we all needed it. So I will call to order the meeting of May 21st of the, May 20th of the Baldwin County Board of Education. Miss Lindsay,
Yes.
please open us in prayer.
Okay. If you bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for the wonderful weather we've had this week and for the beautiful graduations that we are part of. We're certainly hope that our seniors have a successful life and that we've given them all the tools that they need to succeed. Please be with our Baldwin County family as this is the summertime and a lot of people will be heading out on vacations. Keep them safe and bring them back safe to us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You are live streaming now.
Live streaming now. So.
It's on now. Okay, thank you. I don't think we have any other visitors. The AEA people, Guy, of course, is here.
Yeah, it's here. Yeah.
We have no letters of commendation or anything for this evening at this point. Thank you. We have two sets of minutes. The special board meeting that occurred on April 13th. I'm sorry. That occurred on April 13th. And regular board meeting that occurred on April 22nd. Trust everyone has had an opportunity to review those. If so, we can take them both together. So I need
Motion to approve the
I
minutes.
have a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And minutes are approved. We do have a member with us this evening of the community that would like to speak. Dr. Lou.
Actually, we have two. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And quickly, I'll just remind the speakers we have 3 minutes for each speaker to give us the information you would like to share. The board does not generally address any kind of information. Of course, you understand. Anything that's shared this evening is always taken under the advisement of the superintendent, and he responds accordingly. Please don't mention anyone's names, as there is no one, that person is not here to take up for themselves or anything. So with that,
Good. Thank
Dr.
you.
Lou, please go ahead.
Dr. Lou Campanosi, president of the Common Sense Campaign. I saw Shannon a little while ago. I was advocating for HB 440. She was against it. So I want to give you this.
Oh, well, thank you.
This was my argument that you needed to see. You
Oh,
might have changed
thank
your
you.
mind. I will be back about that, though. We actually have, just as an informational point here before I get into what I want to say, we have had a team meeting with the State Board of Education. We now have 4 votes against Common Core. We're hoping the governor will be the 5th vote. This coming Monday, we have another team meeting with Joe Bonner, Nick Moore, and Superintendent Mackey. We'll see where this goes. So I'll be back in June with good news, I hope. We'll see. All right, so this evening, what I'd like to do is talk to you about 2 issues, and I thank you for the opportunity to do this. As you well know, there's a movement afoot in the nation about the 1619 project, which many of you may have already heard about. The other thing that's going on is this question about critical race theory, okay? We think that both of these things should not be included in whatever you all are doing, whether it's the curriculum, whether it's teacher training. All of those things are going to create major problems, I would argue. Let me just talk about 1619 quickly. 1619 basically undermines the whole argument about why the revolution took place, making the argument that in essence, the revolution was all about keeping slavery because they were afraid the Brits were going to get rid of slavery. Well, the problem with that is that there was already a homegrown anti-slavery movement, 1688, the Germantown Meeting, Quakers, okay? By 1754, if you wanted to be a Quaker, you could not own a slave. So somewhere along the line, Hannah Jones, who won a Pulitzer for this, kind of missed that important fact there. By 1783, 5 other former colonies and states had abolished slavery. So I'm not quite sure how you win a Pulitzer Prize with that kind of historical, interpretation. The second point that I do want to make, though, it's probably even worse, is this whole idea of critical race theory. What it basically is going to argue is that whites, all of you, okay, me, are going to be racist, inevitably, inherently, which means that the whole system is systemically racist because we have the power. That's the argument. If you think to yourself for a second, well, that's not me, how do you defend yourself against this? I mean, are you going to be able to show that, you've demonstrated over the years that you were part of the civil rights movement? Of course, most of you are too young to have done it. But I was part of that. But it doesn't matter, okay? Here's the insidious thing about this. If you carefully look at the progress that has been made since Dr. King took this country to where we are today, and here again, here's the white boy saying, hey, the glass is half full. I understand that. But I've got a friend back here, George, who I was on his radio show the other day. The reformist tradition in American history is an important part of this history. And that history took us to a point where we see today that we've had a black president, a black vice president, secretary of defense, secretary of state, who is black and white, woman and man. I'm just suggesting to you that the counter narrative to this argument about how we're all racist and that the system is inherently racist and cannot be changed just doesn't stand up to the facts of what is there. It doesn't mean that there weren't problems. I understand that. That's not the issue. The issue is how did we deal with the racist problems that we had inherited over the years from 1619 to the present. If it's still like 1619 in your mind, then I think you better go back and just take a closer look at the history and see what's there. Interracial marriages, 17% of all marriages today are interracial. How do you continue to say that, well, we're all racist and you're marrying from another race? 250,000 interracial marriages in 1970. Okay? First time I saw an interracial marriage was at Airborne School in Fort Benning, Georgia. First time. Today, over 5 million interracial marriages. Now, we've got a huge population. That may be not a huge percentage, but I would suggest to you something is going on if you're having interracial marriages. And that something is not along the lines of what critical race theory is telling us. And if we adopt this, and if you let your teachers go to these clinics that are talking about this, I would say you're doing them a major disservice. And if you let this get into the curriculum, you're doing worse than what Common Core does. And Common Core has set the stage for this with these folks who are basically Marxist-oriented, basically saying the only way to treat the systemic racism is to move along the lines of a Marxist solution, take the land, take the money, and redistribute it. That's never worked anywhere, and it won't work here, and it's going to undermine everything that Dr. King did in trying to create an opportunity society based on character, not color. Please think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Lou.
you.
Dr. Lou, I know you were delicate, but I came back and said, hey, you're a visitor too, and I tell you what, I've enjoyed my relationship with you, and we've navigated some difficult waters. You've been very patient with us and very, very supportive. I'm hoping that we're on the track doing some things that maybe hadn't been done in the past that concerns you, and just appreciate our friendship.
Well, I do too, and I have to say that Cecil and I keep talking. I keep supporting him and getting him.
I appreciate your business.
Yes,
Dr.
I know.
Lee.
Okay.
I really like
I
your
wish I had
wife.
stock in your company. And he asked me, he said, well, are you all going to be able to support a salary increase for the superintendent? I said, yes, because he saved the school system from the debacle of 2015. That's why we supported you to come back here.
Thank you, Dr.
So
Luke.
we really
that.
appreciate what you've been doing. Thank
George,
you.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here
Yeah.
too, and your support. Thank you.
And did George want to speak? George,
George,
did
did you
you
wanna
want to speak? Normally you sign up, but if you, we'll give you 3 minutes if you want to. And could you state your name, please, and where you're from?
Thank you. George Williams. I live in Bay Minette. I'm a retired DEA special agent. I'm a retired major. I'm a Vietnam veteran. And I was the senior vice chairman of the Alabama Republican Party for 6 years. I am now the outreach coordinator for the Alabama Republican Party. And I have a radio show every Tuesday night on 106.5. I moved from here to Alabama 3 years ago, and I lost my visa, so I had to come back. And I'm back here now where I left Baldwin County in 1956. My mother, father, and their 8 children. And we went to Paterson, New Jersey, and I came back in 2006 to live. But I agree with Dr. Liu. This critical race theory, you know, it's terrible. And I think as soon as we get away from that, we should. And we should not allow that to be taught in our schools. That should not be a subject. I used to be a substitute teacher when I was a police officer in Paterson at the Eastside High School. Joe Clark was a good buddy of mine. You saw the movie Lean on Me. And the guy that hired Joe Clark was my 5th grade teacher when I went from here to Paterson. I think we got to get away from it. And it's very important, like Dr. Liu said, keep it out of our schools. Keep it out. We don't need it. We keep hearing it every day, and they keep getting on Civil War and this and that. Hey, Civil War has been over for 150, 180 years. So why should I? And I've been called a racist because I'm a Republican, you know, and I'm a black guy, but I've been called a racist. So we got to stay away from the race issue and definitely keep it out of our schools. So that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
George.
Thank you,
Appreciate
George. We
that.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
for your support. Dr. Liu, thank you. I believe that's it on delegation. Ms.
Yes,
Dawson.
that's the end. And so amendments to the agenda.
Amendments to the agenda, amend number 3, Public Works. Number 9, leave of absence of personnel. Number 10, retirement and resignations of personnel. Number 11, termination of temporary and or non-tenured certificated personnel. Number 12, termination of temporary and or probationary classified personnel. Number 13, transfer, intent to transfer of personnel. Number 14, employment of personnel. Number 15, extra work for extended periods. Add number 2, transfer of guaranteed contribution with the City of Spanish Fort. Number 16, 2021-2022 revised extra work wages. Number 17, 2021-2022 proposed salary schedule.
Move we amend the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry, second by Mr. Stewart. Any questions or discussion of the amendments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 1, bids proposals. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the low bidders meeting specifications for bids and bid extensions for goods and services for the system as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Motion for Mr. Johnson,
Second.
second for Mr. Christenberry. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 2, transfer of guaranteed contribution with the City of Spanish Fort. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to authorize the superintendent to enter into the transfer of guaranteed contribution in a form similar to the attached in the amount of $1,006,500 with the City of Spanish Fort as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Motion from Ms. Colley, second from Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion?
One quick question. I noticed it said we're responsible for Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What we discussed with those, yes, sir, just, it's on our property and it's easier for us to coordinate that, and I don't think it's gonna be a large expense. A lot of time we get fees and stuff waived for tap fees and so forth.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 3, Public Works. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the low bidders meeting specifications for public works projects as amended and stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stewart, second by Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion? Not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you, Frank, for moving around the county and continuing to resurface a lot of areas of our facilities, and
Yes.
it doesn't go unnoticed. I
In
think-
Central Baldwin Middle, we're unable to do just a turning lane, so we're making a loop in front of the school. It's gonna be on the southeast side, so you actually get off that Thompson Road and you'll actually loop through for the car line. I think you and I discussed it at one point, but that is in the bid price, and also at Rosington, we're gonna give everybody off 64.
Okay, that's good.
That's good.
Talking about repaving and all this. I don't know if that school's ever been repaved.
No, it's original.
Yeah, 25 years. I mean, it's
Wow.
about time.
About time.
Central
About
Baldwin.
time.
I agree.
I just said Central Ball because I was there. I knew it wasn't paid. So, I mean, look at these
Yeah.
other schools. I mean,
It's needed.
I don't know why it wasn't done.
I do appreciate what you're doing now, moving around, and John allocating the funds, and it's very noticeable, so thank you for that, but you're right, Mr. Myrick, it's a long time in coming. Was that voted on?
Yes, we are. We're at number 4.
Agenda item 4, elementary math textbook purchase. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the purchase of the recently adopted math textbooks for use beginning in 2021-2022 school year as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Motion by Ms. Colley,
Second.
second by Mr. Christenberry. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 5, secondary math textbook purchase. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the purchase of recently adopted secondary math textbooks for use beginning in 2021-2022 school year as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry,
Second.
second by Mr. Stewart. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
And motion carries.
Agenda item 6, approval of contract Power School Special Programs Training on Site. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the contract for Power School Special Programs Training on Site as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Motion by Ms. Lindsay, second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions or discussion?
Is that paid for a local tax or is that?
It's local right now.
Any other questions?
State doesn't give us too much.
Uh-uh.
You can imagine.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 7, approval of memorandum of agreement, cognitive coaching. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with Cognitive Coaching Foundation seminar training to be paid from local funds as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stewart,
Second.
second by Mr. Christenberry. Any questions or discussion?
Yes, I've spoke to Homer about that today, and he can explain it better than me.
Well, it's just, cognitive coaching is, this is a trainer-trainer approach. It's a process in which teachers really evaluate their delivery methods, and I'll really defer it to the expert over here, so, Jeremy.
Really wish you wouldn't say expert, but, so basically, it's a training program to help coaches work with teachers. And so a lot of our coaches don't have, like our curriculum leaders, don't have, necessarily coaching skills. That's not something they teach us through, teacher training. And so this program helps us help them learn to work with people. Myself and several others are certified in it, through the foundations course, and it's phenomenal. I was able to, it's probably shouldn't use for these public funds to get trained, but I helped my wife through a problem the other night by coaching her through that. I asked permission first, by the way, because I'm not stupid. And I coached her through using the methods we learned here, and this is how we work with teachers too, so if they come up with the answers to something, because if I give you the answer, then I'm the one that knows it. But if you come up with the answer by me helping you, you're the person that figures it out, and it helps you understand what it is you're trying to get done. So we use this with teachers to coach them into being better teachers.
Thinking strategies, reasoning strategies, things of that nature.
That's what I was going to ask. How is that different than EMITS?
It is a foundation that we use for EMITS. So EMITS takes cognitive coaching and takes this much of it and puts it into the program, but they can't actually say they're doing cognitive coaching because that's a copyrighted thing, that's a specific thing. So what we're doing is we're taking that little piece that we use in that and we're expanding it to the full program to work with coaches to be able to use this in the classroom for teachers. But it is different.
Is learning a new technology system?
It's not technology.
It's strategies for teaching.
Best practices for teaching, yes.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Thinking collaboratively is the name of the company.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Agenda item 8, approval of parent and student handbook, student code of conduct 2021-2022. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the 2021-2022 parent and student handbook, student code of conduct as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Motion by Ms.
Her.
Colley.
Her.
Her.
Second.
Second by Mr. Christenberry. Any questions or discussion?
So this can be, once we approve drug testing in Orange Beach, this can be edited so that,
There's no requirement that we can't edit any of the board policies or the handbook
At any time.
What we have to do is when it applies, like through, if it's gonna affect teachers and stuff, we have to by law disseminate, have a comment period. But then typically for policies like this, we always disseminate for a comment period of 30 days and then we can adopt it.
thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 9, leave of absence of personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the leaves of absence of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
Motion from Ms. Colley, second from Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 10, retirement and resignations of personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the retirement and resignation of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry,
Second.
second by Mr. Stewart. Any questions or discussion? Not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 11, termination of temporary and/or non-tenured certificated personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the termination of the contracts of temporary and/or non-tenured certificated personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Stewart, second by Mr. Christenberry. Any questions or discussion?
Thank you for asking. Appreciate that.
Any other discussion? Not, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Please let the record show that Ms. Leslie abstains. And the motion passes.
That's agenda item 13. Is that one?
12. 12.
Agenda item 12, termination of temporary and/or probationary classified personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the termination of classified personnel in accordance with Act Number 2011-270, Student First Act, as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
So moved.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Stewart, second for Mr. Christenberry. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Agenda item 13, transfer, intent to transfer personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the transfer, intent to transfer personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
Motion by Ms. Colley, second by Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Agenda item 14, employment of personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the employment of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
Motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Ms. Colley. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Agenda item 15, extra work for extended periods. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the extra worker personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stewart, second by Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Agenda item 16, 2021-2022 revised extra wage rates. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the revised 2021-2022 extra work wages as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Motion by Ms. Colley,
Second.
second by Mr. Stewart. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Agenda item 17, 2021-2022 proposed salary schedule. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the dissemination of the proposed 2021-2022 salary schedules to local schools and organizations for input as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stewart, second by Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
That's all I have, Ms. Dawson.
All right. We've already heard staff reports. If there aren't any other questions, Guy, Mr. Busby, you have any media questions? All right. Thank you, sir.
Jesse.
Nicole?
Nicole, glad to see
Jesse?
y'all here.
All right.
Always, and thanks for tech support, Jeremy. Y'all back there.
Appreciate
Superintendent
it.
breakfast, last one. We
Yep,
had our
last
second one in a year and a half, so it's in the morning, 8:30.
Be there.
Good food, good fellowship.
All right. Motion to adjourn, please.
Second.
I have a motion from Ms. Colley, a second from Mr. Johnson. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Thank you. We are adjourned.